Hi there. The SAT in 2023 has gone the digital way, and this was something that I, talked about in my previous video. The implications of, the test going from a pen and paper format to an online format, change in its pattern, change in structure, and much, much more was discussed in my previous video. So do check it out if you haven't already seen that one. But in today's video, I'm going to discuss a few broad implications. I'm going to talk about why the new digital SAT is actually an opportunity for you. It actually makes things better for an international applicant, and also some things which really haven't changed, some things which remain much the same in this new version of the SAT. My name is Anand Venkateshan. I'm the founder and mentor of this platform called mentorscapital.com. And while most of the content in my videos comes from the large pool of networks that large pool of mentors that we have, people who walk the same path as you probably intend to, and their advice can really make a difference in making sure that you meet your dream. All right, so let's get our session today underway. Quick recap of what I spoke about last session. I talked about the SAT in the new avatar is actually a great is great for a student because it's a shorter test. It gives you slightly more time per question. The pattern and the structure of the exam is more or less the same, but what they've done is that they've condensed it into two sections instead of four, and in each of these sections then you get it's a two-stage test, which means that you get a first stage in math, and then after the diagnostic you enter with the actual test, right, which is adaptive, which adjusts to your performance, which adjusts to your ability, so to say. So it's very exciting. It opens up a new chapter in how the SAT is going to progress from here on. But I thought we quickly also capture why there are plenty of opportunities for you as a student, as an applicant looking to study a bachelor's program abroad. Well, number one, I think for an aspirant, the test has visibly become less strenuous, right? So it's digital. There's a change in the pattern. It's gonna take time for people to adjust to it. So if you're taking the exam this year, if you're applying, early next year, then the new SAT pattern shouldn't worry you at all, because most universities are going to be liberal and they look at the test scores. That's one end of the story. The second end of the story is that the test itself has become less strenuous, because it's not going to be a 3-hour test. It's going to be slightly over 2 hours. There's fewer questions to attempt, and questions are more streamlined. The math section gives you a calculator now. Doesn't expect you to do your own mental math. So plenty of reasons to cheer if you're a student. There's less stress on you. It's much shorter, and it's also adaptive, right? So you don't worry about your friends getting more marks just because they got lucky. No, the test has no luck involved now. It really will test you and maximize the test of your abilities at the very least. Number two, what is now an opportunity for you is that earlier, there used to be a lot of student complaints on the quality of the testing center and the ambience and whatnot. But now I think increasingly with digital exams, I think in India at least that's the case, where there are plenty of complaints on infrastructure and facilities available, especially the device that you access the test from, right? But SAT has done a great thing. They've allowed the candidate to bring their own device to the testing center. You still need to take the test. You can't take the test from home. You'll still have to visit a test center. But what you can do is you can bring your own computer or laptop along and take the test in your own device. And that's great, because it means that you can get comfortable with the mouse and other aspects of your device, which will not be lost, right? So that's great for you. And another good piece of news is that the test is now more frequent than ever before, right? Earlier, the old version of the SAT, because it was pen and paper and because it was dependent on a whole lot of constraints, it could be conducted only 5 times a year. But now the new digital SAT as it stands, is going to be conducted 7 times a year, right? So in itself, it gives you more opportunity to take the SAT over the course of a year. And number two, I think an allied advantage of it being a digital exam is that it becomes easier to evaluate and get the scores to you, right? Where earlier it would take at least a couple of weeks for you to get the actual score from the SAT, which would mean a nervous period of a couple of weeks, followed by a little more nervous period, because once you have your score, you need to report it, right? So reporting itself takes some time. But now, with the digital SAT, the score should come to you within a couple of days, of you taking the test. Maybe, I mean, in theory, it should be immediate, but let's assume that there will be a few checks and balances in place, so you will be able to access it in a few days and then immediately report it to the universities of your choice, right? So it makes it faster and it makes it more frequent through the year. It's less strenuous for you, and it's a lot more flexible, and caters to your comfort, right? So those are big advantages. The SAT, the College Board, is trying to make things comfortable for a student, right? And the other end is what remains the same, right? What hasn't really changed? Well, like before, you still have to go out of your comfort zone. You still have to go visit a test center, take the test there, right? You still have to attempt a paper which involves math and English, right? It's still going to be 2 sections, right? At a score reporting level, it's still going to be 2 sections of 800 points each, which are combined into a 1600 point scale, which is going to be the SAT score. So at the onset, I think you need to be aware that it is continuous, right? It should be comparable to the pen and paper format. The score remains in the same scale. And number two, what also is important to keep in mind is that the test format remains broadly the same. Even though it's now digital instead of pen and paper, you still have to answer questions in the multiple choice question format. There are going to be a few questions in the math section where you won't have option choices. You'll have to fill your answer in, but this remains the same as before, right? And finally, within each test area, within each section, the areas that are tested also remain the same, which means the syllabus for the math section remains pretty much the same. Even in English, whether it's reading or writing, still going to be passage based, still going to be on similar areas, similar kind of questions that you're going to face. It's only in a shorter duration and in a different format. It's a 2-stage format. So those are things that have changed, but what you're preparing doesn't really change, right? So the verdict from me, I think this test is actually great news for a student. In video one, I said it's great for a student because at a test level, it's slightly easier. It adjusts to your capabilities, and it reduces the stress on you. But now, from an applicant point of view, not just a test taker, but somebody applying for a university abroad, there's more to cheer because it's more times a year. It's faster reporting and access of scores, and finally, it's pretty much the same preparation. So if you've done some work before, it doesn't go to waste, right? So thumbs up if you're a SAT aspirant. If you have any more questions, do write into me. Click on thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up to this video if you like it. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer, you can mention those in the comments to this video. Click on the link in the description if you'd like to connect with us directly, connect with me or some other mentor from our vast network. And if you have any specific questions to address to us or for future videos, if you have any reference for me, do click on the link in the description. Do write into me. Well, our services, as ever, are quite comprehensive, and I think you need to visit our website to know more about these. We can help you at every stage of your application journey, whether it's writing tests like SAT, GRE, or the GMAT, or crafting your application, which in itself should be a couple of months and more, or finally at the last hurdle, that's before your application to a university, admission to a university abroad, is the stage of, let's say, personal interviews, video assessments, and the like, and we really are experts at that stage as well, right? So don't hesitate to reach out to me, and wish you all the very best in your future endeavors.